The healthcare system will roll on without us. And if you're not careful, the healthcare system will roll over you.
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show. My name is Dr. Jarrett, and I am your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed by the healthcare system, please invite them to join us along this journey. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere, and subscribe. While you're there, please rate this episode and give me honest feedback so I make sure I provide you with the most up-to-date information about career and life changes. When I say dissed, I mean disengaged, like, practicing medicine just isn't what it used to be. Too many administrators, too much paperwork. I don't even have enough time with my patients. Dissatisfied, like, I just don't feel like I'm living up to my full potential. I just am not fulfilled. Or disenfranchised, like I was when I had my medical license temporarily suspended. Today we will be talking about getting help. All too often we feel alone on our journey as a physician, and we feel less than human if we ask for help. We will talk about reasons to ask for help and how easy it can be. Before we get started, we have a word from our sponsor. Are you struggling with an entitled child? Are you living in regret that your teenager's outbursts are a result of you not letting them cry it out as a baby? Are you trying not to be that parent that strangers gawk at in the mall due to your kid's bad behavior? Wherever you are along the journey, this book will arm you with the strategies to transform your parenting style and your child for the better. Coined the book that children don't want their parents to read, Whose Badass Kids Are Those? Addresses pitfalls, traps, and tricks used to manipulate their parents. In this essential guide, you meet practical advice coupled with wisdom and humor from one of the nation's top pediatricians. The principles shared in this book are not for the faint of heart, but applying them can transform your child and help you yield a great return on your lifetime investment of parenthood. Pick up a copy today for yourself or for one of your patients on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or whosebadasskids.com. Search for Who's Bad $$, Kids Are Those today. Welcome to episode 44. This topic came up recently, and so today's episode will be a little shorter than usual. However, I made a post recently on LinkedIn, and you guys can find me on LinkedIn as Dr. Jarrett. It's spelled out one word as DoctorJarret. And the post was about getting help. There was a good amount of discussion on this post, and it became apparent that we don't think about asking for help too often. So if we look at this as a background and why this may be, let's think about how our training works. We're all grouped together as a medical school class and pushed forward. Mainly once you're in, they figure out a way to get you to pass, succeed, and graduate. During that time, we may learn together in groups, like when we learned anatomy with a cadaver and a study group, or you may study independently. Some take it upon themselves to get the best leg up on the competition, and they really intend on going for one of those highly sought after specialties that are extremely competitive. So that competitive nature lets them feel like they don't really want to help, and they don't want to help other people because they want to be the best candidate. And this can lead to an environment that does not incentivize helping each other out, or promoting a helping culture. Then once you move on to the wards, whether as a student or a graduate, you're suddenly supposed to know all the answers. At this point, asking a question or asking for help is often felt to be a sign of weakness. Therefore, we don't always ask for help. We certainly don't always get it. There are times where we might ask a close confidant, but generally, help is just not in our vocabulary. Then during our clinical careers, we're aimed at helping others. We tend to do all we can to help our patients and their families, but we don't do enough to help ourselves. This can lead to fatigue or dissatisfaction if we're not careful. You know, that buzzword burnout, we hear it all the time, and it always makes it sound like it's something wrong with the person who's burnt out, but it's really a systemic issue. But that aside, the healthcare system will roll on without us. And if you're not careful, the healthcare system will roll over you. As time goes on, the realization that you can't know everything sets in, so you probably will ask for help more willingly, particularly with those challenging cases. You feel at this point that you can probably ask for help without penalty, but this doesn't always happen. For instance, if you're struggling with addiction, you may be afraid to seek help. The ramifications of substance abuse and what it can mean to your career are scary. Medical boards may take sanctions on your license, even if you are getting help. We talked about addiction and the problems with the system back in episode 15 with Dr. Cyntrell Psych. Furthermore, if you're afflicted with any other behavioral health issue, there can be a similar fate where a governing board may wish to take an action on your license that you work so hard for. We talked in depth about suicide and depression with Robyn Symon in episode 37. Then there are times when the unexpected happens. Perhaps there's a case that had an unintended outcome. Malpractice continues to be a big stressor with many people, and we discuss the stresses and consequences of malpractice with Stacia Dearmin back in episode 14. This can be a stressful time in your life. This is another example when you certainly need to ask for help. Help can come from the support of a trusted friend, adding people to your team like a lawyer or a coach. This support becomes invaluable regardless of the investment. The issue becomes a battle between large bureaucracies of insurance companies or hospital systems or maybe even legal systems and little old you. Just you. You are the one that feels alone in this process. You may need the help emotionally and professionally. Then there are times when the outrageous happens. To be clear, I've been made aware of this type of thing happening more and more often as physicians. In fact, I've seen a number of posts on social media regarding accusations and how they've affected a person's career. One thing I will say, asking for help in a public forum on social media may not be the best way to ask. You don't want to air out your dirty laundry. It's going to be there for discovery. People will wonder what's wrong with you that you're going on this long Twitter rant or making this post on Facebook or Instagram. It's okay to reach out to someone directly, but don't put it out there as a post so it's just out there for everyone to see. Because there may be a time when you stand accused. The healthcare system and the medical boards don't have to take an innocent until proven guilty stance. In fact, it feels like the opposite occurs as the penalty is issued up front as a suspension or a restriction. Then the fact-finding begins, and perhaps months or years later, you have the chance to defend yourself. In these times, you certainly need a lot of help and support from your family, your friends. You also need to assemble a professional team to help you navigate these uncharted waters. I discuss this in detail in my book, License to Live, a primer to rebuilding your life after your career is shattered. And we talked about this right up front in chapter 1. But when you look back, there was no class in medical school about this stuff. You didn't spend your rounds as a resident discussing these scenarios. The stakes at this point are too high to believe that everything will work out to your favor because you're innocent in the matter. Innocence doesn't matter when initial actions are taken against you. This is why you must prepare and be ready for a battle. Again, you're the small person trapped in between all of these larger entities that tend to have more resources, more time, more money, more everything than you do as the individual. This is not the time to make an arbitrary decision and just say, okay, let's get this over and I'm just going to do something. This is not necessarily the time to get advice from your friend. This is certainly not the time to make posts about it on social media. You need the advice of a professional.
The comeback.
No matter where you stand and what difficulties you face in your life or your career, never be afraid to ask for help. This is what we're all here for as a support system, directly and indirectly. We are here to support each other. And you're never alone, no matter how dire the situation may seem. If the person you ask can't help you, that's okay. Embrace the rejection and ask someone else. Getting the right help at the right time is crucial to your well-being. And I'm here for you, as are many others out there that want to see you succeed. They want to see you win, and they want to see you keep achieving these amazing accomplishments. We all want to see you continue to do great things, and we know that you have it in you, even though you may be at a rough patch in your life. So I'm here to encourage everyone to ask for help. It's as simple as going up to someone and saying, look, I'm struggling with this or that. I could use some advice. Hey, I have a problem and I could use your help. Just ask. And by getting the help could be exactly what you need to get you beyond this pain point into that future that you so desire. Please, folks, ask for help.
Licensed to live.
Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed, disengaged, dissatisfied, disgruntled, or disenfranchised with healthcare, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast distributor and subscribe to Licensed to Live. Be sure to keep up with me in between episodes and follow me on Twitter at Dr. Jarrett. That's spell out the word doctor, J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. See you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.